My name is Mackenzie, this is Allison, and this is Ashley, and today we will be doing an interval workout. So the only equipment you will need is a chair, and then optionally you can also have a mat because we will be doing some ab work on the ground. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our warm-up. It's going to be 20 reps, 15 reps, and 10 reps of 3 different movements. So our first movement is going to be air squats, and so what that's going to look like is we're going to have our feet about shoulder distance apart, toes slightly out. We're going to keep our chest and our core nice and tight, send the hips back and back up. So a modification for this, if you want, you can just come down to a quarter squat and back up, but for the full range we're going to try to come hip crease at or below parallel and back up. So we're going to do 20 of those, and then we're going to follow that up with 20 mountain climbers. So on your hands and feet, you can either just drive the knees up, or you can jump, or you can just step up. It is up to you. And our last movement is going to be crunches. So we're going to flip over onto our back, feet on the ground or in the air. It is up to you if you want to put your feet in the air. Make sure that your knees are at a 90-degree angle. But we're just going to bring our shoulder blades off the ground. We'll do 20 of those, so we'll go through each movement, 20 air squats, 20 mountain climbers, 20 crunches, and then repeat all those again with 15 and then 10. So let's go ahead and get started. You can go at our pace, you can go faster, you can go slower. It's really up to you. And if you want, who's doing modifications today? Ashley will be doing our modifications if you want to follow her. So let's start with those air squats. So these movements, you don't have to take them super fast. Take your time with them. We're just trying to get the body ready for some movement later on. This is not our workout yet. Let's do about 5 more, in case you weren't counting. And 1 more. And then mountain climbers. With the mountain climbers, we want to make sure that we're keeping the shoulder blades away from the ear. We don't want to be coming up like this. We're going to keep body nice and flat. Do about 10 more. Then we're going to flip over for our crunches. And you can have your hands on your chest or behind your head. Just make sure that you're not pulling the head with your hands. We want to keep our neck nice and neutral. Do about 5 more. Now we're going to start at the top again with our air squats. Your breathing should be picking up a little bit. You should be feeling a little bit warmer. A big thing with our air squats, we want to make sure that we are really driving those knees out on the way up and down. We don't ever want them coming in. Do about 5 more. And let's switch to mountain climbers. About 5 more. Flip it over for some crunches. About 5 more. Back up for our last round of air squats. Three more. mountain climbers. 3 more. Flip it over for crunches. 5 more. Good. And rest. Go ahead, grab some water if you need it. We're just gonna go through a little bit of mobility now. Get our joints fully mobile. So you can put your mat to the side if you had one. And what we're gonna do, or you can keep it if you would like, it's really up to you. What we're gonna do, our first movement, we'll spend about a minute on each movement, and our first one is gonna be downward dog to pigeon. So what that's gonna look like, fold over, walk the hands out into that downward dog position. Then we're gonna bring one leg up, sweep it through into the pigeon. Take a few deep breaths here. You can go down if you want, one side and the other. We're just not spending too much time here because then we're gonna sweep the leg back out and switch. So we'll just spend about a minute alternating for each leg, just taking a few breaths on each side. We're making sure that the knee is on the outside of our body. We don't want to have it down the center. We want to make sure that it's off to the side. And if ever this doesn't feel very comfortable, or if you need to modify a little bit, you can always come into either a seated figure four, so you're gonna keep one leg on the ground, cross the other ankle over that knee, or you can bring it, lay down. So the same position with the legs, we're just gonna lay down and grab onto that leg. Do about 2 more each side. Again, this mobility is going to be just like the warm-up. It's going to be at your own pace, what your body needs right now. Just try to even it up, so either one more on each side. And last one. Okay, you can go ahead, walk the hands back to the feet. Our next movement is going to be a runner's lunge. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to go knee hug to runner's lunge. So what we're going to do, hug the knee up to the chest, then step forward, dropping down. We're going to try to keep this back leg straight. You're going to bring the hands to the earth, and you can just do some little hip circles here. So moving body one direction and the other. Send the feet back, walk the hands up. Knee hug, step it out, hands to the earth, keeping that back leg as straight as you can. Get a few hip circles in. Then we're going to step it back and walk the hands back up. So that's just giving us a little bit of extra hamstring action there. We're going to stay here for about a minute, just alternating. If you want to spend a little bit more time doing hip circles on one side, that's okay. It's all up to you and what your body needs right now. Let's do about 1 more each side. And if you want to, on this last runner's lunge, you can try to bring your forearm to the ground just to get a little bit deeper into that stretch. Last side. Again, you can bring that forearm, try to bring the forearm to the ground. Just take it a little bit deeper. And back up. Our next movement, if you want to bring your mat out for this one, we're going to be in a tabletop position. So we're going to have our knees under our hips and our hands underneath our shoulders. Then we're going to bring our opposite arm and opposite leg up at the same time. So this is going to require some core stability. So I'm going to bring my right arm up and my left leg at the same time. Hold for a second and return. We want these movements to be nice, slow, and controlled. We're just going to alternate for about a minute. So when we're reaching that leg back, we want to we're thinking of it as if we are putting our back leg against the wall. So we want to flex the foot. We're trying to get our body in one nice line. If you want to ramp this up a little bit, you can bring it to your hands and your feet. This is going to require a lot more core stability. Let's do about one more each side. And bring it back down. Feel free, stretch anything while I'm going through our first block of movements. Stretch anything you need. Grab some water. You can use your mat for this block, but you do not have to. So, what this block is going to look like is we have 5 rounds of 4 movements. Each movement we're going to do for 45 seconds, followed by 15 seconds of rest. So our first movement is going to be a little cardio movement to get the heart rate up, get the blood pumping. We're just going to be doing jumping jacks. So 2 feet out, arms up at the same time. If you want to modify this, you can just step 1 foot out at a time. If you want to bring it a little bit more advanced, you can do star jumps. So that's jumping the feet out and actually getting both feet off of the ground at the same time. Like this, coming back down, resetting, and going again. Our next movement is going to be a squat with a side kick. So we're going to do that air squat that we did during the warm-up. So again, our feet are going to be about shoulder width apart. We want to keep the core nice and tight in a nice straight line. We're going to send the hips back, send the knees out, down to the bottom. Then we're going to come up. You're going to come to one side. You're going to keep this leg straight, and you're going to use your glute to pull this leg up. It shouldn't be a kick. It should just be nice, slow, and controlled side movement. We don't want to turn the toe out when we're doing it. We want to keep the toe forward to get into that glute, and then we'll come down, other side, down, other side. So we'll do that for 45 seconds. Then we're going to bring it down to the ground. We're going to have some glute bridge pulses, so your feet are going to be about hip distance apart. We're going to lay down on the ground. Then we're going to use our hamstrings and our glutes to lift our hips off the ground. And you can either hold here, or if you want, you can do small pulses. And we're going to do that for 45 seconds. You just want to make sure that you're feeling it in the hamstrings and in the glutes. If you ever feel like it's in your lower back, you're going to try to rotate your hips down and really focus on pushing through the heels of your feet. And then our last movement is going to be side lunges. So what we're going to do, starting on one side, just going out. We don't want to come forward with the knee, so we're not coming forward in the side lunge. We're going to send the hips back just like we would a squat. And then you can either do one side and then just switch to the other, or you can step to one side and then step to the other. modifications for these are just going to be not going down as deep in the squat, just focusing on keeping that knee over that ankle and sending the hips back while keeping the back nice and straight. So those are 4 movements. Again, we're starting with jumping jacks, then going to those squat with the side kick, then we're going to do a glute bridge, and finally our side lunges. So if we're ready, let me just pull up our timer. So again, 45 seconds of work, 15 seconds of rest, 5 rounds. And we're gonna go starting with those jumping jacks in 3, 2, 1. Try to find a nice pace that you can sustain for the entire 45 seconds. You don't want to sprint through, and then I don't want to see the last 10 seconds like this. We want to keep a nice steady pace, constantly moving throughout this block. 15 seconds left. Maybe for the last 10 seconds, try to throw in some star jumps. 5 seconds. And rest. 15 seconds, and then we're gonna go into those squat with the side kicks. Okay, and we're starting in 3, 2, 1. The pace, just like our warm-up, it doesn't have to be our pace. You can go faster, slower. You just want this to be a good workout for you. Over halfway. Make sure you're squeezing the glute at the top, really focusing on these big side muscles. Just squeeze at the top of that leg side kick. 4 seconds left. And rest. Next movement is going to be that glute bridge with the optional pulse. You want to keep the knees over the heels if possible. With these pulses, we don't want to be going up and down rapidly. We just want to be nice and controlled. I should be able to tell you to stop at any point, and you should be able to control your movements. "15 seconds left. See if you can get your hips a little bit higher. And rest. Now our last movement, side lunges. And we're going in 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. "30 seconds left. Just like our other movements, we want to move at a nice, steady pace throughout this block. Three, 2, 1. Rest. Okay, now we're going back to the top, starting with those jumping jacks. Kind of use this first round to gauge, can you push yourself a little bit harder? Maybe that was a good pace, maybe you need to bring it down. Just kind of think about that. Can you sustain whatever pace you picked for 4 more rounds? And jumping jacks. Another option for modification, if maybe star jumps you can't maintain them for the whole time, maybe you do 3 jumping jacks, and on the third, it's a star. So 1, 2, star. Just something to add a little spice to those jumping jacks. 10 seconds left. And 3, 2, 1, rest. So I don't know if you've noticed, but this is going to be a primary leg block. We don't really have very much arm movement besides the jumping jacks. We're focusing on the legs for this block. Okay, and squat with the side kick. Again, remember, we want to keep the toe pointing forward. We don't want to turn it out for the side kick because we really want to focus on those side glutes. We don't want to pull in the hip flexors. 15 seconds left. And 3, 2, 1. Next up, we have the glute bridges. And we're going in 3, 2, 1. So this is 45 seconds where you are trying to hold tension for the entire time. Even when you bring the hips down in the pulses, you're still holding that tension. We focus on squeezing the glutes at the top, using the hamstrings to lower down. In your hands, you can have them on your stomach, to the side. It's whatever is most comfortable for you. And 3, 2, 1. Back to side lunges. And we're going in 3, 2, 1. One point that I forgot to mention earlier, when you're doing the side lunges, make sure you're still trying to send those knees out. We don't want our knee falling in and trying to lunge. We want it to be out. 10 seconds left. And 3, 2, 1. Back up to the top. We're almost halfway, 2 rounds down. We're going to start with those jumping jacks. In 3, 2, 1. So because this is our only cardio movement in this block, try to push yourself a little bit more. You should be using our other movements as a sort of recovery to get your breath back. Your muscles are working, but your lungs shouldn't have to work as hard. "15 seconds left. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Undo that squat with the side kick. Remember, this is still an air squat. We still want to engage those quads for the squat and then use the glute on that kick. And we're going. it's not about how high your leg is coming up, it's about keeping that muscle nice and flexed and bringing it as high as you can under that tension. So you shouldn't be bringing it way up here because that's just swinging the legs. We want to control it as far as we can. And 3, 2, 1. We're halfway done with this block. Your leg should start to feel a little bit tired now. Onto those glute bridges in 3, 2, 1. Halfway. And again, you don't have to do the pulses, you can just hold. You can follow Ashley, she's doing all of our modifications for us. Five seconds left. And 3, 2, 1. Okay, now we're moving on to lunges in 3, 2, 1. So one thing I want to point out with the lunges is we don't want to be bending over to try to get more depth in the squat. We want to use these big thigh muscles that we have to lower us down. We want to keep the core in a nice straight line, nice and strong, to lower ourselves down. 15 seconds left. And rest. All right, that's 3 rounds down, 2 more to go. We're already over halfway. So we're gonna be starting with those jumping jacks in 3, 2, 1. We want to stay nice and light during these jumping jacks. We don't want to be slamming down. That's just extra pressure on our knees. We want to be landing on the balls of our toes, nice and lightly. Over halfway. And 3, 2, 1, rest. All right, and our squat with the side kick coming up next. And 3, 2, 1. You can even pick up the pace with these if you'd like for these last 2 rounds. Just make sure we're keeping good form on the squat and that we're not just swinging our leg up. We want to control that movement. Over halfway. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bringing it down for those glute bridges. And 3, 2, 1. And we're trying to get our hips as high off the ground as we can. halfway. I don't know about you, but my legs are burning. This is just some mental toughness here. You gotta get through this 45 seconds. And 3, 2, 1. And back to those side lunges. During these rests, feel free to grab water, stretch out anything you need. We're going again in 3, 2, 1. Over halfway. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to the top for our last round. So this is our last round with legs. After this, we are pretty much done. We shouldn't be exercising these legs too much more, so really try to push yourselves. And jumping jacks. Over halfway. Less than 10 seconds. Try to throw out a few more star jumps. 3, 2, 1. And now, our last time doing squats with a side kick. In 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. You can even pick up the pace a little bit if you want. Again, you don't have to go at our pace. You can go faster, slower. It's up to you. Just make sure that you're pushing yourself. 20 seconds left. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Glute bridges. Going 5, 3, 2, 1. Make sure that you're not finding any tension in your back. You want it to be nice and flat, but you don't want it to be doing the work here. You want all of the work to be in the glutes and the hamstrings. 15 seconds left. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back up, we have one more movement for this block, and then we're moving on. Starting side lunges in 3, 2, 1. See if on those side lunges you can get just a little bit lower for this last round. Maybe go a little bit faster. over halfway. Ten seconds left. Maybe pick up the pace for those last 10. And rest. Nice work, grab some water. And I'm gonna go over our next block. So the next block, since this last one was legs, this next one is gonna be arms. And you will need the chair for this one. So what we're gonna do, first movement is gonna be a cardio movement again. It is going to be mountain climbers. So our first option is you can have your arms on here and your legs out and just bring your knees to your chest. That's going to take a little bit of weight off the shoulders and the hands. So that's going to be our first option. And you can either jump them up or just step up. It is up to you. We still just want to try to keep our back nice and flat when we're doing these. Our next option is we're going to move to the ground. And you're just going to step your feet up. Next option, adding in that hop. We just want to make sure that we're keeping our back as straight as we can during those mountain climbers. Our next movement is going to be push-ups. So again, you can start on the chair and go down and up, or you can come down to the ground, go from the knees. Next option is to go down on the feet, up on the knees, and our final option is to go down on the feet, up on the feet. So it's up to you. I was doing tricep push-ups there, but we do have tricep dips later on, so if you would like to bring it out and do the wide push-ups, you're more than welcome to. Our next movement is going to be shoulder taps. Again, starting on the chair. Our first option, we're in that plank position. We're just tapping one opposite arm to opposite shoulder. Just back and forth like this. Next option, so we're going to be down on our knees, one arm and then the other. Then we're on our feet, one arm and then the other. And our last option is you're going to be on the chair and you're going to get into a pike position from the chair. So what that's going to look like, feet on the chair, trying to get our hips over our shoulders and tapping this way. And then our last movement is going to be tricep dips. So we want to keep our hands on the edge of the chair. The closer your feet are to the chair, the easier it's going to be. But we want to try to keep our torso nice and straight, just using the triceps to lower down. So again, feet further out is going to be more difficult than having your feet closer in. And we're just going down to that 90 degree with the tricep. We don't want to come any further because that's a little unnatural for our shoulders. So we just want to come down to that 90 degrees and back up. And with this block, we're doing 5 rounds again, but it's only going to be 30 seconds of work with 15 seconds of rest. So rather than 45 seconds, we're only working for 30. So we're going to start with those mountain climbers in 3, 2, 1. Remember to breathe during these mountain climbers. Halfway. Ten seconds left. And 3, 2, 1. Next movement is going to be push-ups. And we're going in 3, 2, 1. So the difference I want to point out between our wide arm push-up and the tricep push-up, where the elbows shave the sides, is that in the tricep, just like the name implies, you are engaging more of those triceps, whereas in the wide push-ups, you're using more of those chest muscles. So it's really up to you. If you want to alternate, that's perfectly fine. And rest. The next movement is going to be shoulder taps. Now we're going in 3, 2, 1. Over halfway. And 3, 2, 1. Last move for this round, tricep dips. We're going in 3, 2, 1. For all of these movements, we're trying to find a nice steady pace that we can maintain for the entire 30 seconds. And if you need to scale down, that is okay. Scale down to the next modification if you need to bring your feet in, or maybe you feel like you can challenge yourself a little bit more, you can bring your feet out. And 3, 2, 1. Okay. Starting back at the top with those mountain climbers. In 3, 2, 1. Again, you always have the option to modify bringing your hands up to here, just taking a little bit of that weight off of your shoulders. Over halfway. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest, we're going to those push-ups. And in 3, 2, 1. Halfway. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Shoulder taps are next. And during any of these rests, feel free, grab a quick sip of water before moving on. And in 3, 2, 1. Halfway. And 3, 2, 1. Tricep dips. And 3, 2, 1. Remember to breathe throughout these exercises. We're just chipping away at the time. 15 seconds left. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, 2 rounds down. Starting at the top with mountain climbers. In 3, 2, 1. Really try to push yourself here. This is our only cardio movement of this block. Over halfway. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice work. On to push-ups. So I touched on this a little bit last week, but what we want to try to do with these workouts is push ourselves past our comfort zone. Now we're starting with push-ups. So maybe you're comfortable. You can do 30 seconds of push-ups on your knees, no problem. Maybe added a few where you go down from the feet up on the knees. Just to challenge ourselves. We don't get better by doing the same things. We get better by going past our limitations. And 3, 2, 1. Shoulder taps. In 3, 2, 1. Five seconds left. 3, 2, 1. So on that chair for those tricep dips. In 3, 2, 1. Halfway. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to the top. We've already done 3 rounds. What's 2 more? We're gonna start with those mountain climbers. In 3, 2, 1. If you want to ramp this up a little bit, bring those feet outside of the hands. So we're going to alternate here. So from the front, that's going to look like this. Just a little bit more range of motion, puts a little bit more pressure on those shoulders. And 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. The good news is we only have to do mountain climbers one more time now. And push-ups in 3, 2, 1. Halfway. Find a modification that works for you so you can keep moving for the entire 30 seconds and rest. Only one more round of push-ups. Moving on to those shoulder taps in 3, 2, 1. Over halfway. And 3, 2, 1. tricep dips. In 3, 2, 1. Your arms should feel pretty fatigued at this point, but that's okay because we only have one more round after this. 10 seconds left. And 3, 2, 1. Last round. That is less than 3 minutes of work left. Starting with mountain climbers, and we're going. Halfway. Last 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're done with mountain climbers now. On to the push-ups. Just remember, this is our last time doing push-ups today. Let's make it the best. And 3, 2, 1. Over halfway. And 3, 2, 1. Nice work. We only have a total of 1 minute of work left. And we're going shoulder taps. We want to make sure these shoulder taps are nice and controlled. 10 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Our last movement, tricep dips. And we're going in 3, 2, 1. After this, we just have a little bit finisher left, and then we're done. Ten seconds left. Just keep moving for these last 10 seconds. And 3, 2, 1. Rest. Nice work. So, we did our leg portion, we did our ab portion, or leg portion, our arm portion. We had a little bit of cardio sprinkled in those. Now we're going on to our abs. So like we've done most weeks, this is going to be Tabata format. So that means 20 seconds of work followed by 10 seconds of rest. And we're doing that 8 times. Or because we only have 2 movements, you can think of it as doing each movement 4 times. So if you want to get your mat out for this part, our first movement is going to be dead bugs. So what those are going to be, we're going to be down on the ground. We're going to bring our legs up above our hips. We're going to pull our shoulders up to activate those abs. Arms straight up. We're going to bring the opposite arm and the opposite leg down. Nice and controlled. And back up. We'll do this for 20 seconds. Some options here are you can bend the knees and just tap one leg and tap the other, or you can just hold this position here. And then our next movement is going to be hello dollies. So those, just like flutter kicks or scissor kicks, you're going to be down on the ground. You can put your hands under your hips if you would like. We're going to have our legs out in front of us, pushing our lower back into the ground. We're just going to open and close the legs. Just like that for 20 seconds. So we have 4 rounds of dead bugs, 4 rounds of hello dollies. We're only doing 20 seconds for each movement, followed by a 10-second rest. So grab some water. We'll alternate, so 20 seconds of dead bugs, 10 seconds rest, 20 seconds hello dollies, 4 times through. We're going to start with those dead bugs in 3, 2, 1. So these don't need to be fast. We're not counting how many we get. We're just trying to be nice and controlled. We want to remember, we're going to point the toes in these movements. 3 seconds left. And rest. We have a few seconds rest, and then we're going into those hello dollies in 3, 2, 1. And you can keep the head up, or you can rest it down. It's up to you. Whatever feels more comfortable. 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. First round down, 3 more to go. Back to those dead bugs in 3, 2, 1. Five seconds left. 3, 2, 1. We're halfway done with dead bugs at this point. Back to those hello dollies. And we're going. If you feel like your lower back is coming off of the ground in the hello dollies, raise the legs up a little bit. 5 seconds left. And 3, 2, 1. We are now halfway done with all of our abs. Back to the dead bugs in 3, 2, 1. Five seconds left. And rest. We almost do those one more time. Really push through. As these get harder, just make sure you're keeping that lower back on the ground. And hello dollies. 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Last round of each. Really try to hold that tension for the entire time. It's only 40 seconds worth of work. And dead bugs. Five seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Last movement. 20 seconds left, and you can do anything for 20 seconds. And we're going in 3, 2, 1. Five seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Nice work today. Thank you for joining us for this interval workout. My name is Mackenzie. This is Ashley. This is Allison. Make sure you get in a good stretch, and we'll see you next Wednesday.